The most insecure president in American history is sicking the feds on Gavin Newsom for mocking his collapse of a speech. The worst thing that happened today in Donald Trump's mind isn't the fact that he's confusing Greenland or Iceland, that he attacked world leaders, that he just blew up a trade deal. It's that Gavin Newsom made fun of him. And it's why Donald Trump is sending his goons to hold him hostage in Davos, because Donald Trump doesn't like the fact that real leadership is overshadowing his meltdown. And it all started when Donald Trump attacked Gavin Newsom in the middle of a speech. Of course, Newsom then went on to respond. Now Trump is holding him hostage. We're going to get to that, but it starts with Donald Trump attacking Newsom in his speech.
We're going to help the people in California. We want to have no crime. I know Gavin was here. I used to get along so great with Gavin when I was president. Gavin's a good guy. And we're going to, if he needed it, I would do it in a heartbeat. I'd love to see. We did help them a lot in Los Angeles, a lot with the early in my term when they had some problems. But we would love to do it. I would say this, if I were a Democrat governor or whatever, I would call up Trump. I say, come on in, make us look good. Because we're cutting crime down to nothing. And we're taking people out, career criminals, who are only going to do bad things, and we're bringing them back to their countries.
You can just tell that Gavin is so fed up with this shit. And at the end, he's kind of like, just kind of getting ready for, I got some thoughts. I got a couple of things to say. And he did. Gavin Newsom immediately responded, not because he's so anxious to humiliate Donald Trump. Well, yes, he does like to troll Donald Trump, but because someone just asked him. And it's really important that someone just asked him. He didn't hold a giant press conference to respond, but Donald Trump certainly is responding in an outlandish way. But this is what Governor Newsom had to say in response.
I think he said something very different last night. I didn't hear new scum. I heard new green scam. I mean, come on, it was remarkably boring. It was remarkably insignificant. He was never going to invade Greenland. It was never real. So that was always a fade. And so he says, well, we should negotiate. Well, everybody here has been willing to negotiate for a year. So it had fire and fury, signifying absolutely nothing. Even by Trump standards, I was rather curious. And there was boorish parts of it, but those were not even that consequential, including name-checking people he likes, people he didn't like. So, I was a little disappointed. It was a little nonplussed.
Did it stand out to you that he said Iceland multiple times when he was talking about Greenland?
And that every time a windmill turns, it costs $1,000. A lot of stuff stands out. None of this is normalized. There's a normalization of deviancy and consciousness and, comments and commentary. No other president, he's held to the curve. He's graded on a curve. I mean, it's really some jaw-dropping and remarkable statements that just, fly in the face of facts and evidence and common sense. So, but they're you've heard them over and over and over again. For the European audience, that may have been a new speech. My God, there wasn't anything new about that speech for the American audience. The only thing that was new is he said he's willing to negotiate, but wait a sec, that's not new either, because he's been saying we've wanted to negotiate for over a year.
You criticized world leaders when you got here, saying that some of these European leaders have capitulated to the president.
In the past.
You said you should have brought knee pads. What have you heard from them since then?
A lot. I heard a surprising number say, glad you made those comments. The exact opposite of what you might expect. They needed to hear those comments.
It was boring. It was useless. It was a waste of our time. Gavin Newsom said what we can all agree is the truth, that Donald Trump is in cognitive decline, that he is reeling, he is losing it, he lost it up on stage. World leaders sat there silently as Donald Trump put on display for an hour his cognitive decline. So no, Gavin Newsom didn't say anything outlandish. This wasn't the type of trolling that we usually see from his press account. He was just absolutely right. And it is a good thing that we have some representation from electeds in the U.S. that isn't just Donald Trump attacking world leaders and saying their countries are shitty because of windmills as he goes full demented Don Quixote. That is what we need. Real leadership. It's a good thing that Gavin Newsom is there. It's a good thing that Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear is there to show that the U.S. is not ready to fully give up on the many decades, almost century-long relationship that we have built with Europe, because Donald Trump is pissing on it. And so Gavin Newsom is there trying to maintain a little bit of something, but Donald Trump literally won't let him. He is sicking his thugs on him. He is sending the feds after him, and he's holding him hostage.
Governor Newsom's press account wrote, breaking, under pressure from the White House and State Department, USA House, a church acting as the official U.S. pavilion, is now denying entry to California Governor Gavin Newsom to speak with media after Fortune, the official media partner, invited him to speak. Newsom responded, how weak and pathetic do you have to be this scared of a fireside chat?
So Donald Trump saw Gavin Newsom mocking him, He saw that he made him look like the fool that he is, and he decided to send his thugs, to send his goons, to send the feds, and shut down the entrance to allow Gavin Newsom to go in and speak to press. The USA Pavilion at Davos, this World Economic Conference, people coming from all over the globe, and what should be the home base for U.S. electeds of all backgrounds, of all political affiliations, Donald Trump shuts Gavin Newsom out. He will not let him in. He is holding him hostage, keeping him from press. His thugs, at the direction of Trump or Vance or Stephen Miller, will not let Gavin Newsom speak with the media. There is a blockade keeping him from doing what he went to Davos to do. Make us look not crazy. Because when Gavin Newsom responds to Donald Trump and says, I was bored, that was weird, why are we attacking our allies? It preserves the last little bit of this relationship that we have left. And Donald Trump doesn't want to do that. Donald Trump wants to sever all ties, maybe because he's angry about windmills, possibly because he's just a puppet of Putin, and it's really great if NATO falls apart for Putin, and then maybe the P-tapes won't come out, or more Epstein information won't come out from Russia, or Donald Trump is just so in love, and before he went to Davos, Putin sent him an edible arrangement. We do know that Putin is joining his Gaza peace board, the man who is carrying out alongside the Israeli government a genocide with our tax dollars. I don't know why he has a peace board. I don't know why the murderous dictator Vladimir Putin is on it. But what we do know is he gave him He gave him $1 billion. So that's how you buy Trump. That's how you literally buy Trump, because guess who's in charge of that money? Guess who's in charge of that money? You guessed correctly. It's Donald Trump, the man who the New York Times just reported has profited at least in cash $1.4 billion, gifts and cash off the presidency so far. That guy is in charge of accounts on a peace board that costs $1 billion to join. And now Donald Trump loves Putin again. Remember at the UN when Donald Trump learned the phrase paper tiger, and he's just like, well, quite frankly, Putin's a paper tiger, and paper tiger, Putin and tiger and paper. And he didn't like him so much. Well, that's all changed after the $1 billion, which is no surprise. That's how the mob boss, that is Donald Trump, operates. And he's made it clear. He actually just came out and said it today after acting like a dictator. He made it clear how he feels about dictators.
We had a good speech. We got great reviews. I can't believe it. We got good reviews in that speech. Usually they say he's a horrible dictator type person. I'm a dictator. But sometimes you need a dictator.
First of all, we must clarify, there were not rave reviews of your speech, Donald. People are not clamoring for more. Please stop that. Also, sidebar, and I have a lot more to talk about on Trump, some more dictatorial actions he just took, and a little bit on Gavin Newsom at the end, so please do stick around. But I hate it when Donald Trump's press stooges, and Carolyn Levitt does this, but so do the other ones, are like, wow, all the media paying attention to Trump when he went on his whole ridiculous diatribe, his press briefing diatribe yesterday, and he was there for 2 hours just rambling. One of Donald Trump's communication staffers says, they just can't get enough of Trump. You dumb fuck. He's the president of the United States. This is not like a successful brand launch. People aren't eating your cereal, and you did a great job with like the Trix Rabbit advertisement. He's the president. Like, that's why people are paying attention, because he says dumb shit and he's trying to start a war. So that's why people are tuned in. It's not because he's so spectacular or you're so spectacular. Okay, I want to get that off my chest. But of course, Donald Trump is talking about, well, quite frankly, people, sometimes they want a dictator, and don't we love dictators? No, we don't. And nobody wants a dictator or you to be dictator or you to be king. I know you like it when you get a crown and a Happy Meal and a pat on the back from Putin, but none of us are into that. None of us want that. But it's what Donald Trump is trying to physically impose on us right now with the latest announcement about what is happening in Minnesota as Donald Trump tries to be the dictator he claims we want.
Exclusive. The Pentagon has ordered active duty military police soldiers based in North Carolina to prepare for possible deployment to Minneapolis. 3 people familiar with the matter told MS Now. At least a few hundred soldiers are being prepared for the possible mobilization to Minneapolis, 2 of the people said.
So Donald Trump is gathering troops to deploy against his enemy, the nicest people in the country who live in Minneapolis. That is what Donald Trump is doing right now, to go back up his ICE thugs, to further cement in the minds of those former Oath Keepers and Proud Boys and Jan 6ers that they have the full backing of the federal government, and the President of the United States will not let them be hurt or held accountable. It is why it is outlandish for anyone to say that we need to make tweaks to ICE, that we need to give them body cams. We are the body cams. We're capturing everything. That officer, that disgusting murderer whose name I won't even say, had his phone out recording when he shot Renee Good, when he took her life. That would not have changed anything. A body cam wouldn't have changed that reality. So I don't buy that. And they don't need more training, because more training is more money, and they certainly don't need that either. It's why I was disappointed to hear Governor Newsom say that he doesn't believe that ICE are domestic terrorists, because they are committing domestic terrorism, because that's what Donald Trump is. And he's actually instructing them to do so, telling them to racial profile away.
And you could look at him. I don't want to say why define that, because they always discriminate, so I don't discriminate. But you can look at some people and say they're criminals.
Yes, Donald Trump doesn't discriminate, but when we see one of those kinds, we know who and what they are. They're criminals. Those type of people. I wonder what those he's referring to. I wonder what type of that people he's referring to. The bigot that Donald Trump is. Do you really think that this is a group that can be reformed? ICE? Really? With instructions to racially profile? With the full backing of the President of the United States? The ability to pardon in the U.S. military? You think that group of people can be reformed? No, it can't. So let's not pretend that this is an argument. Abolish ICE, full stop. That's it. And that is what we are going to continue to advocate on this show. I'm glad that Governor Newsom is there calling out the bullshit. Couple of tweaks though, Gavin. Y'all know that I'm a big supporter of Governor Newsom. Had him on the show a lot. We'll continue to. But we're not a cult, right? We'll push where Democrats need to be pushed. Gonna do that on this show. If you want to support that, as always, you can hit that subscribe button, leave a like on this video. If you stuck around to the end, drop a blue heart in the comments. Keep on fighting, y'all. Don't let them silence you. And until next time, I'll see you soon.